This is the first time you and I have ever met, besides just a couple of emails back and forth. So good to meet you.
It is good to meet you too.
Yeah, I'm very interested in having a bit of a chat today. I've been working with Andrew for a while, who's the kind of our connection, and he came to me saying, "Hey, been doing a lot of stuff with disability sport and rec, and a lot of stuff with me in gaming, and want to try to marry those two worlds together." Obviously, gaming is like what the title says, gaming's for all abilities. So it's cool to finally make something happen. Is your kid a gamer?
Yes, both my boys are, but I do have one with a disability, and he is probably more along the Minecraft and those type of things at the moment. It changes though.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I was having to look after my my nephew and niece today, and my niece is a little young, but I was sitting there on the couch and watching my nephew play on the Switch the entire time. He loves it. He's about to get Minecraft for his birthday mid next week, so he can't wait. He's about to upgrade from Mario Kart to Minecraft.
I think they've got the right uncle to grow the passion with.
I think so. I was asking him today if he's going to be a pro gamer, and he said yes. So we'll see. He's just playing some Monster Truck Madness game today, loving it, trying to unlock some stuff and trying to get me to unlock it for him. And I'm like, mate, you're better at the game than I am. I don't even know the controls. So.
Oh, great.
Yeah, he's a bit young for Counter-Strike. That's what I played as a semi-pro. It's an MA 15 game. So as he's turning 5 in a few days, so he's got to triple his age first before he can play it.
I don't think his parents will appreciate that one.
No, and his dad's a gamer too, so it's not like we can pull the wool over his eyes. His dad plays COD and stuff, so he gets it.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so keen to understand a little bit more, I guess, at the start as a lead-in about the disability sport and rec community and what it does as an organisation. Can you give me a bit of a rundown into that?
Yeah, sure. So we've got a really proud history at Disability Sport and Recreation. Last year, actually, we just celebrated our 60th birthday. So we're in our 61st year. And we were initially formed by 8 athletes with disability who wanted to compete at a national and international level. And there wasn't the opportunities and there wasn't the pathway for them within Victoria. So our founders, who are Kevin Coombs and Bruno Moretti, kind of pioneered the movement within Victoria. And Kevin is a proud Indigenous man, and for him to do that over 61 years ago, I mean, I think we've got to remember this is before the referendum. So it was a huge thing for him to do. And really over the years, obviously, we've grown, we've transformed, we've moved purely to be from being about people with physical disabilities to more inclusive of all disabilities, including intellectual disabilities as well. So I suppose the overall vision is that anyone can participate in any sport, recreation, physical activity that they want to in any way they want to as well, which really taps into this esports and gaming side of things.
Yeah, fantastic. And how does it function in regards to government? Like, is it a non-government body? Is it government funded?
No, so we're for purpose or non-for-profit, as it's known as, and we are independent of government. We do get some government funding, but we're not a government agency.
Yeah, cool, interesting. Yeah, 60 years, huh? That's a bit of a slog over that time. So besides esports, what do you guys do in general?
Yeah, so we've got our signature, I suppose, events or programs. So our signature events is our DSR Festival, which is held down in December, the same week as the International Day of People with Disabilities. Mm-hmm. And we get about 10,000 people through on the Crown Riverbanks there. So it's a great turnout. It's a great day. Last year it was beautiful, 22 degrees, so the weather turned it on, but you can imagine if the weather's not good, it's a bit of a different story.
Yeah.
We run our annual awards, which is really about celebrating athletes, volunteers, referees, everyone in the disability and sport and recreation space. Then we run a camp, so summer camp and a winter camp, which is absolutely amazing to see kids be able to be involved in opportunities such as being an adaptive equipment up in the snow that they never would have had a chance to before. And probably our other big one is our education program. So Peter and Andrew are superstar education presenters. They're both in wheelchairs themselves, so they go out to schools with a trailer full of wheelchairs. They talk to the kids about how they've come to being in a chair, and then they jump in chairs and just have fun and participate in sport and activities such as basketball or rugby. And it's really great because it kind of brings all kids back to the common denominator as opposed to going to an average sports class where, there's the kids that absolutely dominate and the others that are held back a bit more. And then we've got our new venture, which is what we're talking about today.
Yeah, fantastic. Awesome. And Bo, welcome, brother.
Yeah, sorry about that. The esports guy can't get his microphone working. Work that out. So, no, it's all good. Yeah. So, no, thanks for having me, Chris.
No worries, man. It's a joke. I'm sure you get all the time, and I get too. It's like, aren't you meant to be the tech guy? Well, no, not really. I'm not a tech support.
Yeah. No, I just enjoy it. I don't know nothing. I'm the worst computer person in esports, I reckon. So,
I found some of the best players I've ever played with, like, pro players or semi-pro players, know nothing about computers at all. So it definitely doesn't, like, time on computer doesn't necessarily correlate to tech knowledge. That's for sure. There was a guy I ran went to like this massive LAN party in Adelaide once that I sponsored as a brand, and I set these PCs up on stage, and one of the guys playing in the grand finals didn't know how to plug a monitor in. So, I mean, it doesn't, you don't have to be good at tech knowledge to know how to play games. I'm friends with him still today. I still
That would be me. That would be me.
Exactly. So, Bo, man, tell us, tell the people listening in who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name's Bo. I've got a sales and construction background for the last 18 years. I've always been a passionate gamer per se. I started Ground Zero back in 2017, running community events over here in Perth. So over here in Perth, if you're unaware, we're Western Australia. We're a long way away from everyone else. So I started doing that to give people over here an opportunity to play video games together in like a bit of a, social environment. And then from there, we picked up a CSGO team, then joined the Gfinity Elite Series, which was a franchised league in Sydney as the Perth representative. And then we've continued to grow and grow and grow for the last 6 years. Then Andrew, like Liz was saying before, reached out to us through yourself, Chris, with an opportunity to partner and put together a bit of a really cool initiative that we're, slowly building out now. So it's really exciting to have this opportunity and really open up a new world of hopefully gamers out there and, teach them the ropes and see what we can do. So,
yeah, fantastic. So how did so besides some of the introductions, Liz, can you give us a bit of insight into how this whole esports stuff came together for the DSR?
Yeah. I've been the CEO at DSR since October last year, but prior to that I was fortunate to be on the board. And look, COVID was really tough times for us and for our community as well. And obviously, opening back up, I moved into the CEO role. We were really hungry to move this organisation to the next level. So late last year, we went through some planning, some work plans. We looked at what we wanted to do as kind of, business as usual, keep doing. We wanted to look at what we wanted to stop doing, but we wanted to look in the new area as well. And really have this year being our year for growth. So we all kind of shared a view and a position on the esports and gaming side of things that will really meet kind of our 4 key objectives. And our key objectives are building our brand, growth and participation, business development, and then our people as well. So it really is just that opportunity to further create our reach, help us build relationships, and just extending that connectivity and that connection side.
And I guess it's a main theme of what I wanted to talk about today, but it's kind of obvious to anyone inside the industry, but maybe not outside the industry, that how, gaming is, like the title says, right? Gaming's for all abilities. And I remember a lot of the time early in my career in this space, just kind of talking to people about how you don't have to be a 6'4", hunk of muscle to be able to play video games. You can be any abilities, anytime. You can play on a mobile, you can play on a Switch, and they're just access to technology and ways that anybody can play, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we've got to remember, people with disability, the way they want to engage in sport, recreation, physical activity is different. And the most important thing for them is not only the health benefits, but it's that social side of things. And that social side is one of the key barriers. So, you do have your traditionalists there that say, well, sport's about getting out on the field and kicking the footy, and that's it. But I think we've got to move beyond that as a society, and we've got to realise that if people want to participate in, whether it's helping with scoring, or if they want to move by dancing around, then that's fine as well. And we're really about building the social side, the connection, and the community through this platform, and then grow and develop from beyond that with events and so forth. So that's kind of the long-term picture, and obviously we're very much in pilot phase with Bo and the Ground Zero team at the moment.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. It's something you see a lot in like high school and university esports too, right? Like taking students who are a bit quieter and don't have a common goal or a common interest with some of the other students, and they're usually stuck in their shell quite a lot. But if you find that common ground of video games and they can all play on a similar skill level in a similar way, they start to come out of their shell. Are you seeing the same thing with DSR and gaming esports?
Yeah, definitely. So people with disability are tackling this in confidence, because there is that they're in an environment that they're comfortable with. So they've got that confidence there, and we're very much not restricted to just people with disability. Actually, one of the favourite examples that Andrew, my colleague, likes to use is that there's a passionate gamer that happens to have a disability, but he's in a team with 5 others. They compete at a really high level, and no one even knows that he's got a disability. So, we're open to everyone, and if people with disability are interacting with their friends, disability or no disability, then that's part of the goal as well.
Yeah, 100%. We do a lot of stuff in local shopping centres over here in Perth as well, just to try and erase some of the myths about gaming, that it's like, you sit at home by yourself playing video games. All these people nowadays are on microphones to their friends via Discord or, TeamSpeak, if that's still a thing, and talking to them, engaging with each other. So we go around the local shopping centres during school holidays and put a free-to-play events on. We've got one coming up at Joondalup, Lakeside Joondalup in July. And run for a couple of weeks, and then we'll get kids and show parents what it is. And this is like when Andrew reached out about this opportunity, it's right in our wheelhouse. We want to get whoever wants to come and play in the DSR Discord. We've got watch parties where we can watch our pro team play. We do casual games. We do like some fun modes in, Rocket League. We've got some other concepts that we're going to start rolling out as, people jump on board and get involved a bit more. So it's really exciting where we can take this, and like Liz said, anyone can come and join and get involved and have some fun with their friends.
Yeah, and I guess, part of like what you're saying with that too, Bo, you've got like some professional athletes signed to your esports team too as well, right? So they're definitely not basement dwellers that don't go outside to exercise.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. We've actually got Jai Richardson, who plays cricket for the Perth Scorchers and Cricket Australia. He reached out to us probably just under 2 years ago, and he uses gaming as a break from the stress of professional sport. He's a massive Rocket League fan. He takes his laptop everywhere. He'll be in some small Indian town somewhere playing in the IPL, playing Rocket League until after the game to unwind and that. So yeah, definitely he's actually getting along. We actually, part of the workshop that we're doing with Liz and the team is we've got him to come in and speak about how the similarities between professional athletes and video games or, professional video gamers per se. And yeah, when he first come in, he was actually quite shocked how many things are like quite close, like practice schedules, how they review after any matches, what went right, what went wrong, just even the time and dedication that these people do to hone their craft in whatever game it is. Jai was really impressed with the dedication of some of our players, which is really good to see.
Yeah, nice. How have you both found the uptick so far from the DSR community for this? What's the feedback like from either of your side?
For our side, the feedback's been great. So we're at the very, very early stages in this. And as I said, it is moving into our pilot phase. But the feedback that we've got and how people are finding out what we're doing has been really interesting as well. Like, we still send out a EDM newsletter and, dads have gone to their kids, you should get involved in this. So, it's been great.
Yeah, same here. We've had Kieran, one of our team members, has been leading the pilot program, and he's been inundated with positive responses and how I get involved, and can't wait till next week because at the moment we're just doing it mainly on the weekends. And as the community builds, the hope is that we're going to enable some of the members to be able to open up the casual games and that during the week. So it'll be an every night thing as people are around and they just want to jump on and play with some of their friends. So yeah, been super positive on our end. We're super excited where this can lead as well.
Yeah, awesome. I probably should ask you too, Bo, to wrap up for everyone, like what exactly you are doing. Can you walk through the basics? Program?
So basically we put a concept together. It's almost like an introduction to esports as such. So we got some of our staff members and Jai and that to put on some workshops to start with regarding, it's mainly around Rocket League. Our best team at the moment is our Rocket League team. They travel internationally, probably top 20 in the world at the moment. And so we based it around that. It's also probably the best game because it's accessible on all platforms and it's free to play. So there was no barrier to entry. So we use that game to give anyone who wants to join a go. So we put on a beginner level workshop as such, and then like a bit more of an intermediate, and they were hosted on week 1 just to give people a bit of a taste. And then round 2 we got Jai in to talk about just a general information session about sport and esports. And then we've also got Jamie, who works for us. He did a bit of a cybersecurity session. Just teaching anyone who wants to get involved about, making sure they look after their digital footprint. So, there's some people on the internet that aren't so savory. So we want to make sure anyone that comes apart at DSR or Ground Zero, know how to look after themselves. And then from there, as we upskill some of the members and get them more familiar with their peers and the game itself, we're going to start putting on small little tournaments and leagues for some headsets and some prizes so people can get along and, plan some, competitive, like a competitive environment.
Is there a commonality of games that you find that they like the most, Bo? Is it like centered? I know we've talked about Rocket League already.
Yep. So at the moment, we're just basically doing on Rocket League just so we don't go too wide too early. But then we're going to introduce more games as we go along as well. So the goal is just to go from this. But yeah, we're happy to introduce any games. We've also got a Pro League of Legends team. The problem with some of these other games, the knowledge to play the game is got to be there as well. That some of them they're quite deep. So something like Rocket League, or we'll bring in like FIFA or like an NBA 2K or something like that, where anyone can pick up a controller or a keyboard and mouse and have a go, where you don't have to have a real depth knowledge of the game to be able to play.
Yeah, awesome. And if anyone listening down there live at the moment wants to come up and ask some questions, we'll open for Q&A soon as well while we keep discussing. So there's just like a little button down there to raise your hand. So if you hit that, I'll see it, and then I'll be able to invite you up here and you can ask any questions to any of us three up here or tell us we're wrong. challenge us? Who knows? We'll see where it goes. Hey, Liz, what's the for lack of a better terminology, what's the end game here? Like what are the next steps look like for DSR with this?
Well, we really want to have the pilot to start with and then listen to the feedback and learn from it. We can't keep evolving it if it's not what the people in our community want. So we need to listen, we need to learn, we need to evaluate after the pilot. But the long-term plan is that, we have kind of ongoing, I don't know if you call this 8-week a season or a round, but ongoing rounds or ongoing seasons. And then we would love to turn it into live events as well. And, we're lucky to have some key partners in Club Links, who are a management group that traditionally run leisure centres and golf clubs, but they've really seen that leisure is beyond, the four walls of a centre. So they're really keen to host a venue into the future, and they've tapped one of their partners on the shoulder, which is Deakin University, who are also supporting this, who have a big gaming community. So we're hoping really to tap into a lot broader community, to have, ongoing sessions, I suppose, and to have events eventually.
Yeah, awesome. That's good. What's the feedback been like from the commercial partners that have become involved with it as well? Are they looking to see this one grow?
Yeah, so we've been really clear, and they understand as well that it is a pilot stage. So they're really keen to see the evaluation as well. But, as I mentioned at the beginning, we're really small non-for-profit. So without having these supporters and, part of their financial contribution as well, you can't hide behind that, then we wouldn't be able to do it. So they're really keen to watch and see this and be part of the longer-term venture. But we want to evaluate it together, all of us, before we really iron out what that future does look like. So I've said some examples, and we'll be putting it in paper over the coming weeks.
Yeah. What does the rest of your calendar look like as well? We've talked about some special events and stuff with DSR, but there's other sports involved as well, right? That you guys run events for?
Yeah. So non-gaming, are we talking, or gaming?
Yeah, non-gaming. Yeah. Keen to understand a bit more about the breadth of DSR.
Yeah, so we run the Victorian wheelchair rugby competition. I don't know if either of you have ever seen wheelchair rugby before, but it's absolutely insane. They are tough as nails. It's a really unique sport because being in wheelchair, not a lot of the sports are contact sports, but this is full contact sports. So,
oh wow,
yeah, and they played on a basketball court. It's 4-on-4. It was originally called Murder Ball for a reason, but there's a few documentaries on it on Netflix and that, so go and have a look. But basically it's on a basketball court, and when you go in, the biggest things that blow me away is how physical it is, the tactics on it. So, two players will jam another player up together, like the best player effectively, so that it blocks them out of that point of game. So it's really tactical. And the other thing is the noise. So the noise of two wheelchairs going full on, hit it onto each other. And these aren't normal wheelchairs. They're heavy duty, like full bull bars. So it's kind of like the 4-wheel drive of wheelchairs. So it's absolutely massive. The national competition's on at the moment. Australia are the world champions. Obviously hoping to defeat that into next year's games. And a lot of the players in the Australian team come from Victoria, so we like to think of ourselves as the leaders in that space. But it's really exciting. We're launching a junior pathway because, as I said, that physicality is the point of difference for that sport, and the young kids want that physicality as well. So we host that competition. That's really great. And another thing I recommend, which I touched on earlier, is the festival in first week of December. So we have over 35 stakeholders come and show various adaptive sports. So if you want to come down and just try something, that's the place to be. You can try 35 different things in one spot. So, and we're hoping to move that to a regional festival as well, obviously with the Commonwealth Games coming up in 26. We need to activate and give momentum to those regional areas as well and support them.
I was just looking up Murder Ball when you were talking about it. Crazy. It's got
I was the same.
460,000 reviews on Netflix. So I must be one of the only people in the world that hasn't watched it.
Watch it. It's honestly, and then come and watch one of our games.
Yeah, holy crap.
Yeah,
it's like what every kid, I know why they like it, because it's what every kid wants Dodgem cars to be, or when you're go-kart racing, what you kind of wish it was,
I know. But the sad thing is that there was no junior competition. So, we had this little champion called Bo who'd come and watch every game, and he's just hit 10 years old, and all he could do was wheel up and down the side of the court and, sits on the bench and that. So we were really determined that he wants to be the captain at the Brisbane Games in 32, that we had to get him there. So we're the first ones to do it. So we're really proud of it, and we're going to share those learnings across the country as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to have to check that out for sure, because I've talked to Luke a couple of times before and done a LinkedIn Live with him actually as well. So I know I do know a bit about wheelchair soccer, but nowhere near as physical as the aforementioned Murder Ball.
We'll get you in a chair, and it's amazing.
Try it out.
Yeah, I'm not sure I have the guts. I was telling Bo I want to face a fastball from Jai Richardson, but I feel like I've got much more chance of injury playing Murder Ball than playing cricket with full pads on. I have to buy a chest pad and everything before I head out there.
You'll be all right. Just use those muscles.
I have to do that. Just got a question from the audience. Always takes a bit for the first person to come up and ask a question, and then usually some more flow. So once again, if anyone is listening wants to come up and ask anything, it's an open floor now. So you just got to hit there's a little hands up button. You'll go into like a lobby, and then I'll bring you up in here. Andrew, what's going on, brother? Oh,
he might have this. There we go.
No. Bo was just making sure that the fingers and the mouse are all working in the same space, same time. Hey, thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it, and probably just wanted to share for the audience listening. So Luke David is one of our sort of great ambassadors in the power chair sports space that Chris referred to, that he's done some work with in the past, and how when I suppose a better awareness of what we've put together here came about in a conversation with Luke. So he's got Nemaline myopathy, which is an extremely rare affliction. But in life, outside of he describes himself as an absolute an esport enthusiast, and he felt in another life he'd be playing AFL for Geelong. But sports and gaming are the two biggest passions in his life, and in his case, Halo gave him a release that he wasn't really expecting, because when he was in school, and he sort of discovered Nintendo 64, Pokemon, Game Boy, etc., like social games, and that many people sort of first come into. And despite his sort of restrictions, his own words, he found Halo a really strong competitive outlet, because he didn't like losing. But what he found in the experience was that his role in the team was a support player, and that he was strategic in how he moved around the map, where others were, and that he was a good defender for his teammates. So from that, developed anticipation skills, because he could read the map. He could read the play, but he wasn't really an accurate player. So he sort of was able to fit within the team structure. And we always need, I suppose, if I step out of the gaming space, we always need solid defenders in the lineup. And the interesting thing was, from that experience, was that his teammates had no idea that he was restricted to a power chair. They just saw him as their gaming mate. And so it was a really important thing to help him build confidence and give him a quality of community that was unexpected.
Yeah, it's great. It's bringing, like what we talked about before, right? Like, it's bringing everybody onto an even playing field, and it gives you those abilities to be able to do that. So it doesn't matter who you are, you can play those games. And you see that, like, if anyone wants to do some research outside of that for people outside of Australia and global as well, I'd take a look at Loop being one of them. It's like LO0P, top level Counter-Strike player. Another guy called Rocky No Hands, as well from New Zealand, I believe. Another great example. They're both quite popular streamers as well, especially Loop. Loop signed to a pro team and has played at quite high levels himself as well. So, yeah, just echoing that same thing.
Oh, cool. And the other thing I suppose just also learnt from being active in the space is how how accessible a lot of the gear and the equipment really is. And Microsoft have an accessible controller. Halo have the ability where you can change the outline in multiplayer. So if you're vision impaired or colorblind, you can compete. And 3D printers, how that can now give better compatibility in the gaming space. So it is a really inclusive environment, which is probably not which is from this initiative. Hopefully, more people will understand and want to become part of it.
Yeah, fantastic. I've got another question here from James. We'll bring him up as well. James, what's going on, man?
Hey all, thank you so much for the opportunity, and it's a real pleasure to kind of listen to you all, which loving what you're having a conversation about, and kind of resonates a little bit with my role here in the UK. So 1,000 thank yous. Just in regards to context, I've been fortunate enough to write an educational vocational course here in the UK, which has proved to be really successful for your more traditional and, dare I say, inverted commas, mainstream students, I guess. But we found that there's a real sort of understandable passion for students with special educational needs and AP students, which we have over here, which is alternative provisions. So it's students that, how should we say, don't play well with others in mainstream schools, so they have to go elsewhere. And I guess my question is, we're proving to have some real kind of successes there and traction here with that, albeit slowly, but to focus on particularly the students and young adults that you're talking about, Liz, it's how can I kind of ramp up that here in the UK for those students with kind of physical disabilities as well, really? Any help would be grateful.
I think I'll start it, but then Andrew, you might want to step in as well. I think it's about telling the story to start with. Like if you go to a school and go to teachers and say, hey, we want to get these kids involved in this computer game, and I'm using, I know it's much more than that, but they would kind of think, well, we're trying to teach a curriculum here. We've got challenging students. So I think you really need to tell the story, and that's why we're doing this pilot, so that we can tell that story, and this is a great platform that we're doing that on, but then also we can hear back as well. We in Victoria, or in Australia, we have specialist schools, so they're kids that qualify to go to a special education setting, and it means that they have to, it's based on their IQ and a couple of other bits and pieces. So we're really, that's another plan for the future. When you asked earlier, Chris, is we really want to look at how to combine with specialist schools and this be a new opportunity for them and something that they can really thrive and achieve in as well. But to do that, we realise that we're going to have to work with the education system. We're probably going to have to do a pilot with one particular specialist school. We're going to have to work with what we call the Department of Education. We'll probably have to get some funding to get that initial buy-in before anything can go broader. We also need to link it to the curriculum. So we've got a Victorian curriculum, there's a national curriculum as well, and basically the schools won't go near something unless it's part of their curriculum or if it's a one-off, fun thing for them to do. But we would like to be more than a one-off. So you've got to link it back to the curriculum, which is really easy. Andrew mentioned a really good one before around, it's around teamwork and all those values that we have. That's what the games can do as well. So to link it back to the social skills side of things, critical thinking and all of that, that's what we will need to map it to get the school and the education system to buy into having this as an opportunity.
That's great. Thank you. It's always the journey, isn't it? It's always the storytelling, as you say. And
It is. And that's important as well because, otherwise it's like going out there and, telling them how to do their own jobs, and we need to listen back to them as well. So, Andrew, you've probably got something to add in this space as well.
Thanks,
look, thanks for joining us, James.
Oh, well, thank you all for having me. Really, really grateful.
Well, it's also allowed us to connect many dots in that. So with disability sport and recreation, we've always had very, very strong relationships with the academic institutions, and by way of research or information share or experiential learning. We also, Liz, how many Wheel Talk sessions do we do a year in primary schools? About 200. We connect with about 10,000 children a year through primary schools through our Wheel Talk program. So we've got these sort of established connections already in place. And I think the important thing here, James, is that following the strategy that Bo put together with Discord and how we're going to build that channel, we recognizing that the audience coming through, it's where they already are. So we weren't trying to push them into something where we wanted them to be. We sort of made it in an environment where they were familiar. And even though it's early days in the pilot, but when you can sit back after the weekend and see how Kieran interacted with the players in the games, and one of the players who at the end of the weekend put up his own highlight video, chilling and getting goals with ball cam on what he'd done over the weekend. And that just sort of creates a really good, attitude, atmosphere and vibe in the community, which will continue to grow. And I think what will help us down the path here is that we'll be able to show those in the education system what's actually going on, because everything within the channel is visible, and you can it's starting to build from there. But I think the Discord part was a really important element in making sure that we've got that set up properly, activated it, set all the ground rules in place, but had the right support for the players in there.
That's great. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions from your side at all, James?
No, not at all, to be honest. It's been a really nice kind of, as I sort of said at the start, it's really nice to kind of get input from sort of other people trying to do the same thing and other people who have been successful, dare I say, across the pond, and other kind of cliches and stereotypes, because we're all trying to do the same thing. The mainstream almost takes care of itself, which isn't meant to be. Disregard all the hard work that goes into that. But the successes of the special educational needs students who come into our place and play, Minecraft, that's their escapism, that's their joy, and they don't get that anywhere else. And it's just trying to amplify that and put the support in, and that's the bit sometimes we struggle with or forget. And listening to Liz and Andrew, and seeing how they've done it and looking a little bit about the companies behind that is food for thought, and something that I will absolutely borrow inverted commas to try and do the same thing over here if I can.
We'll be borrowing back off you as well, James. Don't worry.
Thanks, Liz.
My follow-up question to that, and maybe Andrew can answer as well, is I know that the Australians are going to smash the Poms in the Ashes, but do we beat the English team in wheelchair cricket? That's what I need to know.
Not sure if there's a wheelchair cricket, but geez, Bo, wouldn't it be good if somehow we had a face-off, Jai Richardson against Stuart Broad in some gaming?
We can organise. Believe it or not, Joffa Archer is actually a mad gamer. He actually reached out to us. Yeah, reached out to us last year through Jai, and he wanted some. We've got a Pokemon Unite team going around. He reached out to Jai to try and get him some controllers and stuff like that. So we hooked him up with some Pokemon Unite Nintendo controllers. So yeah, I think he said terrorize Steve Smith and the crew enough. Maybe Joe will have to beat him up on Rocket League or something like that. So,
without being a national speaker for the UK, I'm fairly sure if there was an English team, we'd probably lose that as well. So it's probably best there isn't.
Well, there's your goal, James. It's to have our Aussie Rocket League DSR team face off against yours, and it's Team Richardson versus Team Archer. There we go.
I'll see what I can do. Leave it with me.
That sounds pretty good. Small world, huh?
Yeah, 100%. And that just proves the point how many people play games as well. Yeah, exactly. Like it's awesome. Like Kyrgios at the moment's playing while he's injured. He's streaming at the moment playing Pokemon and different games. And I know a couple of WA boys over here playing AFL. They're massive COD gamers, take their PlayStation to the hotel rooms while they, got some downtime before the matches. So yeah, no, it's cool.
That's got to be an awesome piece of content you can put out there, Chris. You've got Jofra Archer and Jai Richardson, who both bowl 150 Ks with a cricket ball, and their release is gaming.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was talking about before, right? The old cliche, the meme is that gamers are basement nerds living in their grandma's basement and never go outside. And I think you gotta probably go outside to be able to bowl 150. What's that, like 80 miles an hour plus?
It's pretty severe. I'll hand back to Bo, but recently I was able to present about at a Unisport conference about the importance of inclusion with disability on campus and how they can drive change. And before I was able to give my presentation, there was a learned sort of colleague who was sort of expressing some concern about the legitimacy of esports, which was a beautiful segue because it allowed me to slip into my delivery that asked the room who'd heard of a guy called Pat Cummins. And of course, yes, everyone's heard of Pat Cummins. He's the captain of Australia. And as was proven on a recent Amazon documentary that you've seen, Chris, that Pat Cummins is a pretty ordinary gamer when it comes to the face-offs against Josh Hazlewood and Nathan Lyon and the others.
Yeah, Jai's told me Nathan Lyon likes a few video games in the while they're on tour. So yeah.
That was a joke too, wasn't it? It's something in that Amazon show that Nathan Lyon was so bad that they wanted to ban him from playing with them.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. I mean, what do you do when you're locked in, when you're on a tour in India and you're locked in your hotel over COVID protocols, right? You got to find something to do. It just makes sense to hit up the games. I mean, it even happens with, I heard the same with the Australian Open with Roger Federer, I think it was as well. He gets FIFA and a PS5. That was the first thing on his, like, whatever they call it, the request sheet when he comes over for Australian Open. So it's a common thing. It's starting to get out there a bit more, right?
It's definitely way more mainstream than it was when you and I were playing, Chris. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny to think, isn't it? You go from the nerds to the heroes, and I hear that in schools as well. I got a friend who's a teacher who's run from Perth as well, actually, Brett, who's run a bunch of high school esports stuff before, and he's a teacher, and he tells me that clips will go viral inside the school. And everyone will be talking about, like, oh, did you see, Chris from year 8? You see that sick, like, Fortnite rocket shot that he did? And, they'll all be sharing the clip with each other. It's pretty crazy to think, judging by that back to when I was at school, when the only thing I could do was play chess because that's what the nerds did, even though I didn't really like chess at all. I still don't.
Did you just call yourself a self-proclaimed hero? Did I just hear that or not?
No, not me.
No, used to be.
Used to be. Yeah, I'm not the Fortnite whiz kid, that's for sure. I was a Battlefield 2 whiz kid back in that day. I got the tattoo to prove it, but no.
We used to play
in the wrong generation,
Liz. We used to play Liz when you used to get mouse pads and mouses for prizes. Now people are playing for millions of dollars. So it's changed a lot in the last, say, 10, 15 years. So,
does anyone remember Double Dragon and the joystick? That was me.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, Bo. Yeah, that's a bit of an insight into history for you, Liz. Around when we played, I call myself like a semi-pro in CS:GO, and it's now my 10th year anniversary as to when I quit the game, almost to the month actually. And my last ever tournament I played in was like a $7,000 AU prize pool, where the first place team took away 5K of that. And now there's a team Greyhound in Australia, and they're all on 6-figure salaries, the players themselves. So I definitely lost money trying to become a pro in gaming. Or if I think back to when I was 18 and I was the only one in my friendship group that had a license, I used to not have enough money to get there and back to the LAN event. So I used to have enough fuel to get there, and my mates would pay for my entry for me driving, and then I'd win enough to be able to buy food and also enough fuel to be able to drive the hour back home, back up to Devonport and Tassie from Launceston. So yeah, the times have definitely changed since then.
before we kind of, not saying we're wrapping up, but I'd really like to you asked me what the future looked like for us, and, I talked about growth and so forth, but I wouldn't mind tapping on some of our kind of what success looks like for us as well, if you will.
Yeah, please. That's actually what I was. That is honestly, that's exactly what I was about to ask. So go for it.
So we've got quite a few measures of success. So we really want to look in this pilot of having 100 plus participants in forming all different blended teams. So that's a magic number, is 100, and then on the Discord community through the DSR Discord. So anyone online that wants to jump on our Discord, help us get to these numbers, which is 250 throughout the pilot competition, so over the next 8-ish kind of weeks. So hopefully some listeners can help us out in both those spaces. That would be great. And we've got some big dreams, like, I'm sure lots of people know about DreamHack. So we'd love to be in the 2024 tournament with DreamHack, and we really want to pass this message on to our community, so do some fundraising initiatives. So 70% of our income comes from fundraising at the moment. So to combine fundraising and gaming and esports, I think will be really, really special space and help us to be able to continue as well. And then just overall increase in our social platforms and our education programs. Andrew said we already go out to, it's probably going to be about 15,000 kids this year. So how can we harness what we already do to be able to grow this community as well? When we've got 10,000 people that come through on our festival, let's have an esports station set up, a bit like what Bo does in the shopping centres, and let's get people drawn in and show them what it's all about. So that's kind of some big measures of success that we're hoping to hit.
Yeah, awesome. It'd be good to see, streaming and content creation start to come into this too, right? So I feel like that's also a major advantage, for people of different abilities. It's something you can do while you're at home, and something you can do on a PC, and it's a great way to earn a living. If you can hit the big time, which not many people do, there's a great living in it. But even video editors and stuff like that are in quite high demand, and graphics designers and editors, and you can learn all those skills by making YouTube videos, either for yourself or for others.
Yeah, and we really want to employ people with disability to help, be the monitors and help with our competitions on weekends into the future as well. And I know Bo's got some expertise in this kind of space that we really want to lean on and further in depth our community within this venture.
Yeah, that's our goal too. When we first started talking to Andrew about this, one of our main goals was to upskill any of Liz's members so this can grow organically from within. And same like you're saying about live events, Liz, if you have any people part of your program in Perth, get them along when do these areas. Last year we did some stuff with FIFA. We actually launched FIFA end of September last year, and there was a big push about women in sport. So we made sure we got like local female soccer teams down, and we actually like closed off the session, and so we could get them like around each other and try to just get anyone and everyone involved. So yeah, pass them along. We'll get them involved. All our areas are fully accessible as well, and we'll get them playing some games together.
Awesome. Lisa, welcome up.
Great.
Lucky last question.
Hi, thank you. Great. So I'm Lisa Robinson. I work for an entertainment company in Saudi Arabia and also with the American Chamber of Commerce. And I'm really glad to see that you guys came up. It's super timely for me because on Monday we're going to be having the Saudi Arabian Esports Federation as well as a lot of the American and Saudi gaming companies together for a meeting to kind of discuss the business of gaming, as e-gaming is the #1 sport in Saudi Arabia. We've got gamers $45 million in prize money coming up in July. So it's this huge hot topic, but something that we're missing is, which I'm always been an advocate of special needs individuals. So I really appreciate the feedback that you guys have given us as far as what is happening and what we can do for these special needs people to get them involved in the gaming platform. So Liz, I wanted to know, it seems like you're just really starting to take off and having training centers in the UK. I want to know, is there any plans or any room for expanding the program on an international level?
Wow. That's a big, well, firstly, thanks for talking to us, and you're doing some great things, and 45 million in prize money. Chris and Bo might come back on the scene for that. But yeah, so we are Victorian based, so Victoria in Australia. We do have people part of our Discord and participating that are outside Victoria, and our counterparts within those states support that. So I'm going to say that, you know, we have got predominantly Victoria, but a bit of national buy-in as well. To be honest, we're really in the early days, and I kind of haven't really thought about anything internationally. Bo, I don't know if it's something that you jump in that you're aware of, but at the same time, I suppose, you know, world's your oyster, isn't it? Who knows?
We're actually going to Gamers 8. We've been invited as one of the Australian representatives for Rocket League, which is very exciting for us. No, not necessarily. I don't know of anyone outside of here, but yeah, it's something I'm happy to explore and get involved with.
Yeah, cool. Well, definitely. You know, I'm happy to open those doors for anyone that, you know. As I said, I am an advocate for special needs, and I work with the federations and with the MISC Federation for Saudi investment. So, you know, I'm a very open person to helping people getting those connections. I'd like to. I've been in Saudi Arabia for a long time, and I'd like to see that development and growth. Especially if it's something that's helping the special needs community, which I'm really happy to hear the research and the products that have come out from you guys on what the result is, and having them join these gaming teams. I think it's a really special niche that needs to be addressed.
And I suppose the benefit is this is people, we're people with different expertise. Like, I'm not, you know, gaming esports is not my area of expertise, but my area of expertise is, you know, the disability community and people with special needs. And that's why we need to lean on, you know, someone like Bo and utilise his expertise in gaming, and then the two worlds are coming together to create movement and momentum in what we're doing. So I think that's great about people collaborating, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And that's why we're excited to work with yourself and Andrew, because, yeah, I can take what I've learned from it's making me sound old now, like 15 plus years of, probably longer now, of gaming, and put it to a good use. The best thing, Lisa, especially with Discord or anything like that, even if they are not from Australia, they can still come and get involved with anything that any of us do. You know, we play with some people, especially being over in Perth, we play with a lot of SEA servers, and like we can set up things where people from similar region can play together, so there's no disadvantage with ping or anything like that. But yeah, if people got similar interests and want to play games together, I'm sure we can help facilitate it.
What do you know? I missed the unmute button. She's dropped back down into speaking, frantically clicking around trying to unmute myself. I'm sitting here like an idiot. Yeah, awesome. So good to hear. Yeah, and it's a crazy prize pool event, Liz. You're definitely right. It's the largest prize pool kind of conglomerate tournament ever to happen. Last year was wild. This year's even wilder. So hopefully Bo can take home the W back to Australia.
Yeah, and I'm actually attending, which is kind of exciting. I'm going to go have a look and cheer our team on this year. So yeah, it should be really cool. I'm really excited to. I've never been to Saudi Arabia before. Check it out. Check out the whole festival. It should be good.
Yeah, awesome. So as we wrap up this Spaces today, we might have time for one more question. So if anyone else wants to come up, just raise your hand. But otherwise, Liz, Bo, thanks so much for coming on. Keen to know what's next. What's happening next with DSR and Esports?
We're trying to wrap up the financial year and preparing for next financial year. So we're in budget business planning mode. Also, our state government have got their grant process open at the moment. So we're wrapping up the last 3 years worth of funding and moving into hopefully the next couple of years worth of funding. As I said, we've spoken about our esports pilot is coming up, and our winter camp is coming up in July at Falls Creek. So that's absolutely amazing. And to get people that are logistically that are in powered wheelchairs to get them up and down the mountain, it's logistic heavy, but it's so rewarding. And then we'll have our awards shortly after that. So a big couple of months.
Yeah, we've got RLCS this weekend, and hopefully our boys can come top 2, which means we'll head over to Boston for the Boston Spring Major, I think it is. And then if we do that, we'll qualify for the World Championships in Germany. Then we'll jet set back for a little break and then off to Saudi Arabia. And then on Monday, our LCO, our League of Legends team, starts for Split 2 on their pursuit of making the League of Legends World Championships towards the end of this year. And then on a in-person front, like I said before, we've got our live 2-week school holiday activation in July at Lakeside Joondalup, which we're really excited to launch.
Awesome. Sounds like there's a lot going on. So thanks again, Bo. Thanks, Liz. Thanks for coming on. Keen to see. And yeah, if anyone wants to connect with both of you online or check out what you're doing or join the Discord, which is probably the most important part, where can they join the Discord?
Yeah, there's links everywhere via Ground Zero socials, via DSR social media. I think we posted a few times on both myself, Liz's LinkedIn's promoting the Discord link. It's but I can give it to you, Chris, if you want to chuck it out as well. I think you've put it out as well. And if you can't find it anywhere, shoot me a DM and I'll get you an invite to our Discord.
Yeah, fantastic. And Liz, where's the best place to connect with you if anyone else wants to ask any advice or have a chat?
Jump on LinkedIn and connect me on there. I'm more than happy to chat, especially, as I said, from my angle of expertise, which is really the education and disability side of things. So I'd love to hear from everyone. I'm so absolutely thrilled that people from over the world have been on here. So well done.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Liz, Bo, thanks once again. It's getting late here in Australia. It's 9 p.m. for us over here in Vic. So thanks for coming on and have a good night. And thanks everyone for listening in. We'll be doing another one of these next week. It'll be announced pretty soon, but we've got a pretty good EU guest coming on to talk a lot about governments and Olympics and esports, as well as what's happening with the League of Legends Championship Series at the moment, where the Players Association is beefing with Riot. So it's going to be a good chat. Thanks, everyone.